How's it going, everybody? Over the last couple of months, this trend of gaming websites making tier lists, and yes, I'm talking For Honor tier lists, has been developing. And let's just say that these are of questionable quality. With that, I want to take the opportunity to talk about tier lists in general, as well as why these gaming websites even make them. Because people hold these lists in high regard. You see it in streams, in videos. People always ask what the best character is. They don't really question it much or ask why the hero is good. Tier lists are a manifestation of the zoomer brain basically, no offense to any of my viewers obviously. But with that said, I always link to the sources I use for my videos, but I will make an exception here. I will not give you the link to or name the website that hosts these utterly trash tier lists. I will not be part of driving traffic to the articles. I hope you guys can understand. And another thing I hope you guys understand is that I like getting sponsored. And NordVPN was once again kind enough to do so. And they did request for this one to be quote unquote less marketing. They're asking for real talk from me. Well, let's see how that goes. So, what do I use my VPN for? A VPN is actually quite convenient when a game doesn't allow you to switch to region. We've all repeatedly run into stacks in For Honor that we simply do not want to fight, and it's an easy way out with it. Another thing that we did is we wanted to know what it actually feels like when my own attacks are unreactable. So we did a little world tour and checked many different servers. It's actually quite funny when a 300-500 bash forces a read and not a reaction out of someone. But all jokes aside, the one reason why you really should consider NordVPN is security. You've all seen it nowadays. Every kid fancies themselves some sort of hacker or scammer, and links with malicious content are being sent around pretty much every day. Whether they go for your Discord or try to trick you out of your Steam account, it doesn't really matter. And it's also no secret that most of you are, well, let's say you're not technically inclined. And neither am I really. So I'll take every help that I can get, and it's not for nothing that NordVPN has been around for so many years now and stayed at the top for that long. So check out the link on the screen right now, nordvpn.com/freeze, and have a look at the deal. 30-day money back guarantee as well, so if it's really not for you, there's some extra security on top of it all. Link is also down below in the description. Go check them out. Alright. Back to the topic of tier lists then. So, why even make them? Why does everybody and their mother think they should create one? And while I was being a little mean when I made my comment about the attention span of gamers, it still rings true to a degree. Tier lists can be made into a singular image, and it fits right into the type of content the vast majority of the youngins consume nowadays. You can look it over within 20 to 30 seconds and can ignore the explanations and then move right on to the next thing to keep your brain occupied from forming a single unique thought. And that very fact that it is quick information is why tier lists have established themselves in every competitive online game. People rank characters, rank weapons, rank abilities. You see it everywhere. So naturally, everybody within the gaming biosphere, I don't know, I'm lacking words today, just bear with me. Everyone wants a slice of that pie, and that includes gaming websites. And their big advantage over everyone else that is posting their lists to Reddit or any other forum is the following. They do have people in charge of SEO, search engine optimization. They know what they need to include in the articles, so theirs pops up first when somebody Googles For Honor tier list. So not only did they realize that this sort of content is popular, they also have the means to push theirs to the top of the list. And obviously the only reason they do this is to get clicks. You mass produce articles like that, and by that you cast a wide net and get as many potential viewers as possible. That is why even smaller games like ours are of value to them. The actual contents of the article, those are irrelevant. As you've been able to see all this time, it's absolute nonsense. Nothing is coherent, nothing makes sense. And once you dive into the explanations, it gets even worse. Here is an excerpt about Nobushi. Nobushi fits well in an ambush squad because of its damage. So what now? A fucking ambush squad? Who's ambushing anybody in this game? Are you mental? And while I ask that, I once again remember that this is all about search engine optimization. You want terms that people potentially Google for. So you put in shite like ambush, spam, overwhelming, one trick, and all that kind of stuff. So, can I fault these websites for doing all this? I guess not. They all just try to make some money at the end of the day. They hire some poor uni student that writes them 200 words for 10 quid or something. Not their fault that this is what works in this industry. What about my fellow content creators? Do I fault them for picking a topic that they all know will get them views? No, not really, but I think they should stay in their lane. Maybe instead of an actual proper tier list, keep doing the which hero can fit the most pencils in their pee-pee hole kind of videos. Keep it about stuff you actually know about. Which is probably one of the main points I want to bring across today. Actually knowing what you're doing and making a coherent and accurate tier list, it is incredibly hard. Not only do you yourself need to have that knowledge, you also need to have your stuff peer-reviewed ideally, which takes a lot of time and work. Take Barak's tier list, for example. He has matchup graphs behind it. He talks to many other top-tier players and incorporates all that into his lists. And at the same time, he sticks his neck out because he knows that he's going to get pushback. Some of it may come from players of equal level as him, and a shit ton is going to be from clueless individuals that just dislike what they just heard. Remember, content creation is about telling people what they want to hear. If you don't, you sacrifice views. Believe me, I have first-hand experience here. But enough ranting, let's talk about what you can take away from tier lists and what you should look out for. Tier lists need a lot of context. What are they made for? Is it a duel, brawls, dominion, or maybe even a breach tier list? All of these would look vastly different with different heroes at the top. The bottom, not so much. Has that tier list been made with competitive play in mind? Does that mean that perks are disregarded in it? Because if you included heavy perks, a lot of mediocre heroes would rise in the rankings. Let me repeat what I said a minute ago. Context is insanely important when it comes to tier lists. Context that is very rarely explained, and even rarer is it listened to. A tier list might not apply to you at all. Whether a character is ranked S or F tier might be completely irrelevant for your level of play. Just because a top competitive player ranks Valk rather low, doesn't mean that you are not allowed to struggle against her. Maybe you just don't know about that one specific dodge timing. Maybe you cannot react to her sweep. This is all perfectly fine, but when somebody looks at the game solely through the lens of tier lists, then that view gets distorted really quickly. There is nothing wrong with looking at tier lists, but you need to be aware of who made them and who they were made for. Is it just to get some quick clicks and views? Is it made for competitive play? Or maybe someone just ranked heroes for their very specific skill level? All of these are out there. Where do you fit in then? Well, that's for you to decide. In the sea of content that's out there and everyone trying to trick you into clicking on their stuff, do you want to be the person just looking for somebody to tell you what you want to hear? Or do you want to have your views challenged? And by that, maybe even learn something at the end of the day. You want to be told that Lawbringer is the worst of the worst and that by winning with him you are ultimately just the vast superior gamer? Or maybe you want to hear that despite lacking in many aspects, he has redeeming qualities that do elevate the hero to above average and is reflected like that in said tier lists. You can decide that. Tier lists are definitely a valuable resource, and the fact that they provide a nice overview of a very in-depth topic is a blessing and a curse at the same time. When you look at one, make sure that the author is someone that actually understands what they're doing, and even more important, make sure that the tier list is actually applicable to you. Don't fall for the clickbait nonsense from websites or content creators in general. Be critical when looking at these lists and don't blindly believe everything. The intentions of people might not be the best when it comes to stuff like that. Alright, enough of this now. You know what to do. Check out the sponsor. Exactly. Having said that, hope the video was helpful. Thanks for watching. Laters everybody.